Welcome to Casting Couch.
That'll be the intro there. I like it.
Alright, what's going on everyone? It's David, this is Smart Fitness, and today we're going to be talking about something that you would think is a little bit more commonplace in the IBD community, but it isn't too commonplace in the general population. What am I talking about? I'm talking about trying to gain size, strength, and general muscle mass with somebody who has Crohn's disease. So, essentially, this kind of topic came about because I go to school with a guy who, he's a good friend of mine, you guys know him, Sean, but like for lack of better terms, he always says that I need to fill out my frame, and I'll be stronger, and I'll look fuller, which he's not wrong. But then he makes remarks about how I should just eat more. And I know he's joking, because he actually has a pretty good understanding of what it's like to have Crohn's disease and IBD, just from his own general research, what I've told him, and through family and friends. But it kind of sparked something for me to think to myself, but what does the other general population know about this? So that's what this video is going to be about. So Sean, thanks for this video. Now, essentially, it's difficult to gain weight in and of itself when you have IBD or Crohn's disease. We're going to say specific to just Crohn's disease because that is what I know. And basically why I find it difficult, it has to do with the caloric intake and caloric density that's typically required to gain weight, especially if you're an active individual. So I know myself, my baseline calories are around 3,500. So if I'm not consuming that, I typically tend to start losing weight from that. Now, I live a very active lifestyle, so that explains a lot. But for somebody who isn't as active, they might not have to consume that many calories, but still having to be aware of the fact that you need to be in a caloric surplus can be difficult for individuals who have Crohn's disease, because of the fact that you could have something else mitigating the factors, such as general GI distress, some sort of bacterial infection, and the frequent trips to the bathroom that make it uncomfortable and not wanting to eat. And it's not really something that you can always control by just taking a pill or a needle. So based on that, to tell somebody just eat more and you'll gain weight, it's not necessarily true. That can be more of a opposite and counterintuitive effect for some individuals, where if you're eating more, yes, you're consuming more calories, but your body might not actually be digesting and absorbing any or all of the nutrients, depending on the state that you're in. So, as a result, you're not actually gaining weight. In fact, you're doing the opposite, because it could result in you going to the bathroom more frequently, either just loose stools or just general unease. So I know for myself, if I eat a certain amount of carbohydrates, if I was to have more than 50% of my diet as carbs, I typically find that I bloat from it, I feel full way too long, and it hinders my ability and desire to eat. So days where I have 50% carbs is typically a higher volume workout, but as a result of that, to replenish general glucose and glycogen stores, I try to eat this higher base of carbohydrates, and the bloating that's associated with it is typically something that's so uncomfortable that I don't want to eat for another 5 or 6 hours, and typically my metabolism is decently fast to a point that I usually want to eat 2 or 3 hours. So that kind of like gives you a perspective as to what it's like to just have the general bloating. And then I know for myself, when I've had something like H. pylori bacteria, where it actually led to not being able to eat, and when I was eating and staying in that caloric surplus, I just wasn't digesting any of it. So again, to say eat more to gain weight is not necessarily true. But then on the flip side, if your disease course is in remission, it can be just as easy as somebody who doesn't have Crohn's disease to gain weight. So I have a few friends who have Crohn's disease and they're actually overweight, which, yes, it's very plausible to do if you can find foods that don't bother you, but are you going to be doing that in a healthy manner? So when I'm saying that it's not as easy to gain weight, I'm saying in terms of foods that are nutrient dense are going to help support your goals and support a healthy lifestyle. Typically, there is still quite a few unhealthy foods that individuals can eat with Crohn's disease that can cause weight gain and have no problems. Like I know for myself, I can have specifically things like Oreos and just general cookies. But I wouldn't sit there and eat those all day to fill my caloric consumption. It's just not plausible and not smart, let alone the risk of like cavities and feeling like a general unhealthy human being. As Luke sits there on the side, nods his head and laughs, saying, "What is the matter with
Agreed.
you?" So, where am I going with this? Long story short, to suggest that one should just consume more calories and they will gain weight is generally not the case. I know, looking back from the times when I've had a nutritionist, they basically kind of said that because I was 105 pounds at this point in time, I was kind of like on the mends of getting better, but I was still vastly underweight, that I should be consuming close to 5,000 calories a day, which is friggin' absurd. I don't even think I could consume that now, and I'm at 178 pounds. So it's just absurd, some of the values that is necessary to gain weight, and let alone the general understanding that a medical professional or suggested medical professional would have. So what can you do with this? My suggestion would be to find foods that do well with your body and then slowly increase them, especially healthy foods, over time. So start with a general caloric surplus. So generally with the whole bulking and cutting phase of exercise and nutrition realm, it's recommended anywhere from like 50 to 150, in some cases 200 calories for a surplus. With somebody who has Crohn's disease, you might need to start even smaller. So I know myself, I ended my previous cut around 2,800 calories on non-workout days and 3,000 on workout days. And then from that, I slowly started to increase by about 25 to 30 calories a week. And I found that doing that actually helped to mitigate the likelihood of being bloated and just general indigestion. So find a rate that works for you, slowly increase good caloric dense foods, and go from there. But again, I really want to just hammer home that it's not always that easy to just say to somebody, eat more food and you'll get better and you'll feel better. Just like taking a certain medicine, it's just not going to cure all your problems. So it's something that you really have to work at, and you have to find something that works for you. And obviously it's not going to be the same for everyone, so find something that works for you. All right, ladies and gents, I want to keep this short and sweet. Stay strong. Stay strong.